Hey everyone, and welcome to another Let's Talk RPGs with the Digital Dungeon Master. So, in this video, I'm going to be talking all about the new Pathfinder 2 game and a little history with myself and Pathfinder and Paizo. So, I have always respected Pathfinder just because of how the game was supported, not only with the rules, but just support in general. I mean, the Glorion and the Inner Sea, I mean, it's just so fantastic to read about with all of the different regional guides, the key players, the villains, the good guys, all of the areas that you can explore, everything from caves to dungeons. I mean, it's a beautifully supported game. There's lots of comic books for Pathfinder. There are graphic novels for Pathfinder. And this is all stuff that I never really knew about until around the time Starfinder came out. Even though this isn't a Starfinder video, I do have to mention Starfinder. But the only experience that I had really playing Pathfinder was about 4 or 5 years ago, and I ran the Pathfinder Beginner box set, and I thought that was a wonderful game. I thought the adventure was great, the starting town was great, everything was great. I mean, it was so fun. And after the starter box set, we were going to go to the core rulebook. Well, the core rulebook incorporates thousands and thousands of more rules, and I'm exaggerating by when I say thousands and thousands, but yeah, the core rulebook is nothing. Well, I will say the starter box set is nothing like the core rulebook. So there were no attacks of opportunity, none of the more in-depth rules that you would see from the core rulebook. So what I did was I had some players that were, hardcore, long-time Pathfinder players, and they wanted to use all these other books, and they wanted to play ninjas and gunslingers and summoners and maguses, and I'm like, guys, let's just stick to the core book because I'm not familiar with the Pathfinder rules. So we decided to play Revenge of the Kobold King, which was, I think, their first module that came out. And we played it, and we had a wonderful time doing it. Of course, there was a lot of debate and rules with interpretations and how I interpret them compared to how the players interpret them. And I just did not like that with Paizo. It seemed like we spent a lot of time always debating the rules. So after Kobold King, I didn't touch Pathfinder anymore. And, I was big into 4th edition at the time. 4th edition Dungeons and Dragons is a really rule light game as well mechanically, except for the conditions and stuff. That can get a little cumbersome. But yeah, so we never touched Pathfinder again. But I think looking back on it, I think if I would have just played only Pathfinder and wasn't trying to play 4th edition, 5th edition, Dragon Age, and all these other games, I think I would have probably stayed with Pathfinder, simply because I like the rules with it. I liked the variety of everything. There were like 6 bestiaries. There's, all these different adventure paths. There's all these adventures that aren't just recycled. And yeah, I really, and I really liked it, but I just didn't have the time to invest into learning every single book, because every book adds more and more stuff to the game. And, a lot of players wanted to play more than just the core rule book. And I just simply did not have the time to do that. So fast forwarding to Starfinder, I was like, okay, this is going to be Pathfinder in space, with the 3.5 rules and everything. But it wasn't. Classes were built much differently. Races were built differently. All of the monster stat blocks were different. You didn't have to go to all these different books like in Pathfinder to find the poisons and the effects. And yeah, so that's when I started learning about, hey, Pathfinder's got comic, because I signed up for the subscriptions because I really liked what I saw when I picked up the $10 core rulebook. So now I'm looking through the Paizo website, which is just absolutely just jam-packed full of stuff. I mean, it was a very unorganized website back in the day. It still needs some help, but it's a lot better now in the year 2020 than it was, say, 3 years ago when Starfinder came out. So I started seeing, hey, they've got comic books, they've got graphic novels, they've got all these different utilities like map packs and regional guides and solo adventure. I'm like, holy cow, man, this game is supported big time. So, I was happy I picked up the Starfinder subscriptions. And then, a couple of years ago when the Pathfinder 2 public play test was announced, I was like, holy cow, this is really cool. Because we had been playing D&D for, 5-6 solid years, and my players were wanting a change. They were saying, hey, what other games are out there? We want something a little bit more challenging. So we were actually thinking about going and playing not only Starfinder, but actually Pathfinder First Edition. But the announcement came with Pathfinder 2. So we all downloaded the packets and we were like, wow, this is pretty awesome. And, from there, it's just been history. I have the Pathfinder subscriptions as well. And wow, I'm not looking back. I mean, it's a beautiful game. And I'm glad Pathfinder 2 came out because I've always respected, like I said at the beginning of the video, I respect Pathfinder First Edition. Because of the lore of the world of Golarion and the Inner Sea is just simply breathtaking. And, there's always humble bundles coming up. And I actually picked up a 50 PDF bundle for $15, and it had all of the different regional guides. And man, I started diving in and reading about all these famous places. And I'm like, wow, this is good stuff right here. So I've always had a respect for Pathfinder First Edition. But like I said, I wasn't too keen with the rules because I didn't have enough time to learn them. But like I said, if it was the only game I was going to play, I would definitely be playing Pathfinder and doing all the crazy Gestalt stuff with, 2 classes in one. I definitely would have done that. That's for sure. So how I see Pathfinder 2 is how I see Starfinder. And I see Pathfinder 2nd Edition as having more crunch than D&D 5e, but not as much crunch as Pathfinder First Edition. So I have Pathfinder up here as a very rule-heavy game, and basic D&D as not basic D&D. I've been playing a lot of that too recently. But 5th edition D&D, I see that as a very rule light. And then I see Pathfinder in the middle, Pathfinder 2. It has just enough crunch, and it's not as rule heavy as Pathfinder First Edition. So I really like Pathfinder 2. And here in the end of the month, which is May 2020, I actually am going to be starting my Pathfinder 2 long-term game, and we'll be rotating back and forth between Pathfinder 2 and Starfinder. So these are all old school players of mine, and I'm also adding in my boss, Doug, from Fantasy Grounds. So we're going to have a 4-player game. It's going to be fun. We're going to be doing, for Pathfinder 2nd Edition, we're going to be playing the Extinction Curse AP, and for Starfinder, we'll start with the Attack of the Swarm AP. That reminds me a lot of Starship Troopers, and I love that movie when I was in my early 20s growing up. So, that just goes to show my age. So, but anyways, I'm looking forward to it, and this is. I really am looking forward to. I can't say any more than I'm excited about it. And I actually haven't been this jazzed. Jazz hands there. That's for you, Worm Food. I haven't been this jazzed about playing a game, a new system, a game, and since I can remember. Since playing like D&D 5e. So, but what I really like about Pathfinder 2, there's a lot of things that I really like about Pathfinder 2, and I like the direction that they went. First, character creation. I know I say this in all my videos that, you know, I'm big on options. My players are big on options, and the character creation and customization is insane. I mean, not only do you have your class, you get feats every level, no matter if a feat is a general feat, a skill feat, an ancestry feat, which ancestries are now your races. They don't call them races anymore. They call them ancestries, or class feats. There's so many different types of feats to choose from. And you get these pretty much every level. You know, ability score improvements, you get these every 4 or 5 levels. I mean, there's just so much, so much different customization. And I don't think no two, fighters are going to be the same. I really don't, just because of the amount of, class features. And now there's an Omens character guide. There's fixing to be an advanced class guide in another couple months. And like I said, Paizo supports their games to the nth degree. And Pathfinder 2 is no different. And they are full blown adding more content to Pathfinder 2 every month. So character customization, that was like the first thing. Well, that was the second thing that I looked at. Now, what I want to say is the direction they took with attacks of opportunity. And this was one big thing about Pathfinder First Edition that I didn't like, because you could just get so many attacks of opportunities, and how you triggered them was just crazy. There was a page or 2 full pages of how to provoke an attack of opportunity, and then there was all kinds of feats where you could get multiple, and it just slowed the game down. I mean, it just really did. So they basically eliminated, I won't say they totally eliminated it, but they got rid of, I would say 90% of the attacks, 95% of the attacks of opportunity in Pathfinder 2. The fighter gets attack of opportunity at level 1, and the paladin at like level 6 or level 8 gets attack of opportunity. That's if they choose to take it as a class feat. But not every monster gets attacks of opportunity either. Only certain ones. So it's risk versus reward. Do you want to run around and just run past all these monsters and take a chance? Because you don't know if they're going to have an attack of opportunity unless you run past them. And I like the direction that they took on that. It's sort of like a risk versus reward, because you can just run around the battlefield now and most of the time, not worry about attacks of opportunity. So that was the first thing that I looked at, was attacks of opportunity. And I'm so glad that they changed that. So attacks of opportunity were the first thing I looked at. Characters were the second. So I love the new way criticals are in, Pathfinder 2. You don't get a successful skill check with a natural 20. I mean, you do, but if you get a critical success, it means that you do something more. And I like that. I mean, a lot of games like Savage Worlds do that. If you get another level of success, then you get something like a bonus with your skill check. But the way that attacks are and skill checks, if you roll 10 above the armor class or 10 above the DC for the skill check, that's also considered a critical success. So not only is a 1 in 20 a fail and crit, you also have a critical success 10 above the armor class, 10 above the DC, or you can have a failure 10 below the AC or 10 below the DC for the skill check. So if you're attacking your creature with a 16 armor class and you roll a 6 or lower, critical fumble. So, and the skills will tell you what happens with a success, what happens with a critical success, what happens with a failure, and what really bad happens on a critical failure. So I love the way the new crit and fumble system works. I really like that. Another thing that I like, and especially my players, they like the new 3-point action point economy. So every round when it's your turn, you get 3 action points to, or whatever you want to call them. You call them whatever you want. I call them points to spend during your turn. It's the action point economy. So you get 3 points. You can run 3 times because a run takes 1 action. You can do 3 attacks in 1 round, and that's at first level. You can attack 3 times. So an attack takes 1 action, a standard action, and you can do it 3 times, albeit your second attack will be at -5 and your third will be at -10, but still at level 1, you still get 3 attacks a round, and I like that. And, you could take 2 runs and then an attack. Certain spells will take 2 actions. Certain spells will take 3 actions. Certain class features like Brutal Strike or something from the fighter may take 2 points, or Whirling Dervish may take 3 points. So you won't be able to move, but you'll be able to do some serious damage with that. So I like the 3-point action economy. That's really nice. And I'll kind of talk about, I like the way that the spells are set up too. So like D&D 5e, you can spend higher level spell slots and upgrade the spell. But each spell, instead of, like in Pathfinder 1st edition, there's Cure Light Wounds, Cure Moderate Wounds, Cure Serious Wounds, Heavy Wounds. There's 15 different cure spells. But in Pathfinder 2nd edition, there's 1 heal spell. It's just called Heal. And for 1 point, you can do a regular Cure Wounds where you touch someone, D8, plus your bonuses. For 2 action points, you can do a 30 or 50 foot cast, like Healing Word. So you can do it for 2 points, you can do a ranged heal. And then for 3 points, you can do an Area of Effect heal. I mean, how awesome is that? That you can do a level 1 heal with 3 points and heal a 30 foot, I think it's a 30 foot range. And you can heal everybody. And it also damages anything like undead that are in 30 foot. So, I mean, it's the way that the spells are set up, they're awesome. And some spells have 1, 2, and 3 action point spell effects. And I really like that. So I like crafting. Crafting in Pathfinder 1 was definitely worthwhile. But in Pathfinder 2, and I'm not that versed in Pathfinder 1 when it comes to going out of the core rule book, but in Pathfinder 2, you can actually go and get materials and create different armors depending on the materials that you make. And, say if you're a smith, you're going to need to have a smith in the party because your weapons and shields and armor can break if you're taking damage more than their hardness value. So, if you're a fighter, you do your shields up action, which costs one action point in your round, which then gives you +2 AC. So you're not just getting a permanent +2 AC to your armor class anymore, which I like that as well. So you can do your shields up, and if you take more damage than the hardness on the shield, it can splinter your shield, it can break your shield. So having a crafter in your party will be a great thing to have. So, and like I said, you can add all kinds of different ores and woods, and it has all those materials in the core rule book. And with armor, like in Dragon Age, they have a new rune system. I don't remember a rune system being in the core rule book of Pathfinder 1, but in Pathfinder 2, you can have sockets on your armor and your weapons, and you can get different types of runes and put them on your armor. And there's all kinds of like one-use item trinkets, like in 13th Age. You can, put something on your weapon that'll give you an extra +1 or 2 to hit during the combat, and then after that it fades and you can't use the trinket anymore. So I love the consumable aspect of that, and there's just, and like I said, man, Pathfinder just there's so many magic items in this book. I mean, this book is a bludgeoning utensil. There's 600 pages almost in Pathfinder 2nd edition core rulebook. Sorry, I take that back. there's almost 650 pages. So it's really good, and I'm so excited about playing it. So, in the Game Mastery's Guide that just came out a couple months ago, there are relics, and I think there were relics in Pathfinder First Edition, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody, if you could leave a comment down below. But the relics in Pathfinder 2 are like a special reward that maybe a mentor or something that you had found will level with you. So as you get so many levels, you'll have so many points to spend on this item to add more tributes, more effects, more powers, etc. I mean, it's really cool. And it can be anything from like a weapon to a trinket or a shield or whatever. And I like that. So the relics I do like, and I'm maybe not incorporating them into my game in Pathfinder 2. I haven't made up my mind yet. So another thing that I really like is the way that the monster stat blocks are set up. I remember in Pathfinder First Edition, I would have to look in other books for poisons and diseases, and it was such a hassle. But in Pathfinder Second Edition, it works just like your characters. So your monsters have a whole array of different 1, 2, or 3 point monster features or attacks or whatever. And yeah, it's great. All the info is there, all of the DCs, all of the effects, all of the damage. You don't need to look anything up. Once in a while, take, for instance, the Zolgath, which is sort of like a troglodyte. Maybe the Zolgath caster will have something, and it'll say, refer to the Zolgath warrior for this effect. So other than that, I haven't had to really look up anything. So I do love the new monster stat blocks. I mean, they're amazing. And the bestiary is amazing. Not only are there stat blocks, and there's multiple stat blocks for every single creature, like maybe there's an orc shaman, an orc brute, and then like an orc chieftain. So there's lots of variety for every single creature, and I really like that. It reminds me a lot about D&D 4th edition, especially with the class customization, which is what I really like I've mentioned in every video of the games that I like. So another thing that I really love about Pathfinder 2 is just the support. And I've already mentioned this for first edition, and I knew that, Pathfinder second edition was going to be full-blown supported as well. And I mean, Starfinder, you can see on my shelf behind me, Starfinder's been out 3 years and I've already got, all that stuff. So the game is definitely going to be supported beautifully. And with Pathfinder 2, they have, and I didn't even know this until Starfinder, I didn't even know about the subscription plans that they had. So if you go to the Paizo website, you can pick up subscriptions. There's like there's a core book subscription. There's also a map subscription. There's also a pawn subscription. There's an adventure subscription, an adventure path subscription. There's like a miniature subscription. There's a bunch of different subscriptions for Pathfinder 2. And if you sign up for 4 of these subscriptions, you become this like superscriber, and you get 15% off of the subscriptions. So the price is the retail price of the product. So you'll get 15% off of that. And you'll also get, for a lot of people, virtual is the way that they play. So, and a lot of people like to have the books. So not only will you get the physical product, you'll also get the digital PDF as well. And that comes free with the subscription. And I like that. So the subscriptions are the way to go for me. And so yeah, Pathfinder has some months they nail you, but it's good. So, but I love the support, and I mentioned the support. So if you want a game that's going to be nicely fleshed out, and not have a couple of books a year, then Pathfinder, they have stuff coming out every single month. It's great stuff. Now, one of those subscriptions is the Adventure Path subscription. And I didn't even know what Adventure Paths were until I I went to the game store and they were a big, and this is back when I lived in Florida. And Sci-Fi City had they had a whole aisle of Pathfinder stuff. And I kept seeing all these little like 100-page, 70-page paperbacks. And I'm like, oh, these are adventures. So I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. But I didn't really know a lot about it. And then I started talking to the guy about Pathfinder, and he goes, oh, yeah, the best one I think that I've ran is Rise of the Runelords. And come to find out, that's a pretty popular first edition adventure path. So it was a hardback, like 600-700 page hardback. And what it was it was the adventure path books all rolled up into one. So every month, a 100-page book comes out. And each adventure path is 6 books, and it takes characters from levels 1 to 20. So, it doesn't stop at level 10. It doesn't stop at level 15. It literally takes, for Pathfinder 2 anyways, takes your, characters from 1 to 20. And there's 4 chapters in every AP, so there's a total of 24 chapters in every adventure path. And the adventures are beautiful. I mean, beautiful art, beautiful, colorful maps, not hand-drawn, not black and white. They're beautiful maps. And the content is really good too, because they never really, everything is always new. So you get about 65 pages of adventure, and then the other 30 to 40 pages are a DM's toolbox or a GM's toolkit that's in the back. And the toolkit, it just keeps adding more to the Pathfinder 2 game. So there's a lot of organizations that have to do with that particular adventure path book. So you can use those organizations and other games of yours. It comes with like a little mini bestiary with like 7 to 10 new fully fleshed out monsters that look the same as if they were in the bestiary, with full page spreads and arts and different variations of them. There are, key villains and NPCs in the adventure, not just a stat block, but I'm talking lore of this person, from, why they are the way they are to where they live, where they were born. I mean, it's really good stuff. Then there's more new items, new weapons, new archetypes, new skills, new feats, new spells. I mean, it adds a lot. And this is like a nice, fresh injection of new content for Pathfinder 2 every month. And like I said, we're going to be starting the Extinction Curse adventure path, which is currently on issue 4 right now. And basically, all of the players are performers or other employees of a traveling circus. And then everything just goes to hell in a handbasket from there. And then they end up inheriting the circus. They have to run the circus. They have to solve mysteries. And I can't wait to do this. So yeah, we'll start that at the end of May 2020 on my Twitch channel. So, but yeah, the adventure paths are really nice. All of the products. I mean, there's map packs that come out every month. The adventures, and I'll say this also about the adventure path too. Every month when the new adventure path comes out, you also get a PDF of the digital maps. And they're a type of PDF that they've made where you can actually turn on and off the grids. You can turn on and off all the secret doors and locations. So that's nice. You don't have to go to some other, artist website and pay $60 for maps. And it's great. You get PDFs of the virtual maps as well with your subscription. It's a nice little added bonus. Pathfinder Society and Starfinder Society. These are beautiful products. They're like 40-page PDFs, full color. All the NPCs have art. There's beautiful color maps that go along with all of the Pathfinder Society adventures, the Starfinder. There's all kinds of different rewards that you can get. I think they're in the process of building a new point system for both players and GMs. There was something mentioned about that on the Paizo website a couple of days ago. So they have a good reward system to where you can buy all kinds of equipment and boons and all this other stuff. So And every month there's a couple of Pathfinder Society adventures come out. I mean, full blown. It looks like something that would be, printed as a beautiful hardcover book, and they're 40-page adventures. And I mean, it's just high quality stuff. So it's top notch. Pathfinder 2, and like I said, I didn't even know about this until a couple of years ago when Starfinder came out, and I'm happy that I jumped on board, and, I'm looking forward to, playing some Pathfinder 2. Definitely am looking forward to it, especially with all of the, we're going to be playing that here at my house, all the different aids, the spell cards, and a lot of other games have the support as well. But they're all done in-house at Paizo, I believe. And they have cards, your screens, your pawns, your minis, maps. I mean, there's character sheets, and I mean, they just have everything, just like the other major companies. So now the one thing, well, actually there's two things. I guess they're kind of rolled up into one for something that I don't like about Pathfinder 2. And I don't like the conditions in Pathfinder 2. I think there's around 40 or 50 conditions. And in my opinion, this is just mine, I just think that's way too many conditions in Pathfinder. And I know there were a lot of conditions in Pathfinder First Edition, and there's a lot of conditions in Starfinder as well. But I'm not a big fan of the way that they have conditions. And I'm not a big fan of the way the conditions stack. Like certain conditions can get, level 1, 2, 3, and, shit just gets out of control on your character. So I'm not a big fan of that. But if that's the only thing that I can find wrong with a game that I've really looked in depth to, it's pretty good. So I'll have to suffer with the conditions and the condition levels. So, or I think they're called condition values. So, but other than that, I am really liking Pathfinder Second Edition. Like I said, it's a perfect medium between a rule-heavy Pathfinder First Edition and a rule-light D&D 5th Edition. I like it. I'm on board. I mean, obviously, I've got the subscription, so I'm excited about it, and I'm excited about running the game as well, and I may even run a character. Because there's only 4 people in the party, so I may have a character, a fun character that I may play. So, but anyway, there you go, everybody. That's my almost 35-minute rant on Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Well, a good rant anyway. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please let me know down in the comments section. What do you guys think of Pathfinder 2nd Edition? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Are you a Pathfinder 1st Edition grognard and don't like Pathfinder 2nd Edition? I want to know down in the comments section. I love to read the comments, and I love to reply. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks again. Thumbs it up, and also subscribe to the YouTube channel. So until next time, everyone, happy gaming and stay safe. Bye for now.